Hello and welcome to Forced Showdown. That's what we're going to have a look at today. This is a game by BetaDwarf, very recently released on Steam, out of early access. You may have heard of a game called Forced, or even the Forced Slightly Better Edition, which is a fantastic name. Forced was a co-op focused kind of twin-stick shootery game where you were sort of playing against the arenas. It's kind of a weird situation because it's not really a sequel. Calling it a sequel is not really correct because it's not the same kind of game. This is actually a single-player game. Whereas, as I mentioned, the original Forced was a co-op focused game where you played against the arenas themselves, and it was a bit Gauntlet-esque. You were kind of encouraged to screw each other over in certain ways while making your way through almost like a Dungeon Master-esque kind of circumstance. This time it's basically Hearthstone meets Gauntlet in a single-player environment, and it's presented as a blood sport television show. This is Caesar, and it is absolutely fantastic, and I'm here to tell you why. So, I mentioned Hearthstone. It has a deck building system with cards, it has multiple characters to play, and really quite a bit going on with it, and I don't want to spend too much time in the menus at first because I feel that would kind of do the game a disservice, so I want to show you the sort of deck building aspect, I guess, towards the end of the video. So first, I just want to jump in and actually show you the gameplay. So when you actually go in, you will have access to 3 different programs, basically like 3 different TV shows, and you'll only have access to the Crucible at first. And you may say that 3 doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, it is. These are quite long. And they aren't exactly the same every time. For instance, the first one, the Crucible, is actually 6 individual like fights, and each fight is like 8 rounds, so they're pretty long. And only 3, the third and the 6th fight, I guess you could say, are the same in this. You'll kind of understand what I mean when we get into it. But once you complete this one, you'll unlock this one, and then I assume completing this one will unlock this one. But I've just gotten access to the second program after unlocking, basically completing all of the quests, which is a system I'll show you later in the Crucible. And man, the game jumps up in difficulty a lot when you get to the front line. It is really hard. It's not easy to start with, but it gets even harder here. So you will see you have 4 characters to choose from. They are each very, very different in the way that they play, and you'll unlock them quite quickly. And I've been wanting to try out Stormbringer. I have the least amount of experience with him, so I'm probably going to suck. If I suck too badly to actually show the game off very well, then I'll just switch to a character I have more experience with, like Ravager, which is actually who I beat the Crucible with. My successful Crucible 1 run was with Ravager. But I'm going to try Stormbringer, and I made a deck. And every hero has an assortment of abilities and their own sort of method of attack. And you can also choose a companion. I have access to 2 out of the 3. Xiaolong is an adorable Chinese dragon-esque companion, very, very fragile but quite strong. I like using Brutus because he has a way to use some... He's got lifesteal, so he can keep himself alive a little longer, and he tends to be tankier and keep attention away from me a bit, which is nice. So, we're gonna begin. And here we go. The load times in this game are a little bit long, but there aren't too many load times once you actually get into it, so that's something to consider. Now, the game's presentation style is the first thing to look into, because everything about this game is presented as if it were a television show, as if it were a televised blood sport event. As you can see, narrated by Caesar, this guy here. Yeah, it's pretty great. So you just get into it, and this is a sort of hub area, and every program is going to have their own version of the hub area, and this is where you begin. You'll have to go through multiple battles to actually progress to the end boss. And the way it works is every battle has its own rules, and to fight the guardian of this chamber and move on to the next floor, I have to choose 2 of these, and I can choose any 2, it doesn't matter. And they have their own rules. So this one has slippery cards, and this one has Curse of Excess. And you'll learn what each of these mean as you actually kind of go into them. But basically, these are extra rules that add different effects to the actual battles themselves. Some of them are beneficial to you, some of them not so much. The ones that are beneficial to you actually tend to make more enemies spawn in the battles, and the ones that are actually negative and not helpful to you at all will actually decrease the enemy spawns. We're gonna go with Delicate Summons for this one. Bing! And in we go. And it'll tell you what it does. In this case, summons, which are kind of temporary enemies that you don't have to beat to actually finish the mission, will take double damage, but they will also have double efficiency for being summoned. So anything that summons temporary creatures against me will summon them twice as often, but they'll die twice as quickly, basically. And the Titan, basically the boss that we're facing, in this case is the Captain, and this matters, and you'll see why. So I mentioned cards. You have a deck of cards that you can build, or a starter deck that everyone begins with. And you can mulligan, of course, at the beginning. You'll have 4 cards you draw, and in this case, I'm not going to mulligan any of these because these are pretty good cards. If you have a bunch that are really high cost that you won't be able to play for a while, you can, you know, redraw some of them. But in this case, I'm going to start with this hand. That's a good hand to start with. And the way it works is every round that you complete, you'll get 1 mana. And you will have to spend it however you can. In this case, I'm gonna, you can, you know, play cards at the beginning of every round. So, mana doesn't persist, by the way, so you want to spend as much of it as you can reliably. In this case, I think I actually want to use this, which is kind of like the coin in Hearthstone. It gives me 1 temporary mana for this round. And get Stunning Bounces, which modifies one of my character abilities, Chain Lightning, which gives it extra damage and knockback. Well, a possibility to get extra damage and knockback. There are upgrade cards, which are a permanent upgrade that lasts through every battle in this particular arena until I go back to the hub. There are also spell cards, like the spell that I played to get that extra mana, that have an immediate effect and then eventually disappear. And there are consumable cards, and you may see these 4 little transparent slots here, which are consumable slots. They work as you would expect a consumable, like a potion or something like that, to work. They are temporary effects that are consumed when you want to use them. And the game is essentially a twin-stick shooter, a top-down twin-stick that works as you would expect one to work, with a lot of enemy and arena variety, and that is all very important because you're going to be fighting in these a lot. So that was very quick, but you may have noticed how it essentially worked is once you get through the card playing phase, you're in an arena and you got to fight your way through. You kill all the enemies in the arena and you are teleported to the next one. Now, the Titan, who is the boss you'll face at the end if you make it through all of these battles, has an ability they can play. In this case, every 5 seconds or so, he'll drop a mine that I want to not touch for obvious reasons. But a new thing that you'll notice is he can play cards. In the first, the Crucible event, they don't have this ability. But now, oh god, that sounds awful. Now, the difficulty has ramped up significantly and gotten a lot more interesting because the enemy Titans can actually play cards just like you can, which is very cool. So now I'm going to use anti-barrel boots. There are cards with various keywords, like add-on in this case, and when you hover over a card, it'll tell you what the keyword means. In this case, add-on means if you play the card twice, so if you have 2 of them in your deck, then you will, instead of doubling its effect, it will have an extra effect, so that can be nice. I don't want to heal myself because I'm at full health, so that would be a waste of a spell card. And essentially, you are, oh, okay, that was dumb. You are attempting to make a synergistic build of abilities and consumables and spells to make yourself very powerful. And they killed my companion almost immediately. You're trying to make yourself as powerful as possible in kind of rogue-lite fashion, only instead of the randomness of trying to get various, oh god, that was mine, trying to get various items that you get like on the floor of a dungeon, you actually choose what you have access to because you're the one that builds the deck. So those of you that don't like the random nature of roguelites will be very at home with this game because you actually choose what you get, which is very, very neat. So every character has access to several abilities and you have to use them all to your advantage. Stormbringer, as you may guess by his name, is lightning-based. He's got a bow that can charge, he has a chain lightning arrow, and a force field effect, as well as a passive that is that adorable storm cloud. Okay, well, I don't actually have anything that I can play this round, and again, 100 health would be a waste of a heal, so I'm just gonna play. And you may notice that there are the enemies with yellow health gauges, those are the summons, so I don't actually have to kill those in order to progress. Killing those is only important if they're killing me, essentially. They are the summons that I was talking about earlier. They're important to kill if they're, you know, horribly murdering me, but they're not mandatory that I actually take out if I want to win the battle. And you may also notice that I'm picking up points, these blue things here. Points are gathered not only for score, but they also have an actual purpose. They're kind of like audience favor, is what they're flavored as. If you're able to actually complete a battle all the way to the boss and go back to the hub area, your points... That's Magma Storm. Oh god, that sounds awful. Your points will be tallied up, and every certain number of points that you get total will allow you to access what's called a boon, which essentially, like I said, is sort of like the favor of the audience. And what a boon will get you is sort of like a permanent boost that you can then take into every other battle for the rest of that campaign until you either die or beat the entire thing and go back to the main menu. So it's essentially like a permanent, or semi-permanent, strength upgrade. Because, of course, all these cards that I'm playing only last until I beat the boss of this particular set of battles. They don't last for every battle in this entire event. So the events do get harder as I go on. So the boons are kind of like a pseudo level up system that allow you to get stronger because of course the enemies are going to get stronger. Alright, let's see. I want to get Fists of Fury, I think, because the attack speed on this character is very, very useful. He attacks very slowly because of the charge mechanic of his bow, so allowing it to charge faster is very nice. I'm not very good with this character yet, as I said, because this is only the second time I've ever played him, and this is the first time I've ever played him with this deck that I built. And like I said, this second event, the the frontline event, is really quite difficult in comparison to the Crucible. Things are ramped up heavily in terms of difficulty. Oh god. There we go. And we're moving on. But the dynamic of the Titan actually having his own cards and abilities to play, and you having your cards and all of your abilities is really, really cool. And I've got to say, this game, it oozes polish. Like, everything about it is really very... It's presented exactly like, I guess, they wanted it to be. It's presented like a game show, like a Bloodsport on television. And everything about it oozes this presentation and polish, and I don't think they could have done it any better. And I was, like, immediately impressed as soon as I booted up the game with how much is actually on show in terms of how polished the game is. It's really solid, and I think its time in beta really did it a lot of justice, because they were probably able to take a lot of feedback from players and make it into something pretty special. It's actually a really spectacular game. There's a lot about it that's just really, really unique. I've not played anything like this, so let's see. A block... Okay, this has Kicker. Kicker will consume all of the mana that you have left when you play a card with it, and then do its effect. So in this case, let's see, that'll take 3, which will leave me with 4, so that'll be 24% chance to block. That's a pretty good chance, but I could also get plus 80 health. You know what? I'm gonna do it. Screw it. Doing it. Alright, here we go. So the strategy involved in this is awesome. It is a lot more strategic, I think, than your typical roguelite experience, because you actually have a lot more say in the items and passives and abilities that you are given access to, since you're the one that builds the deck. Although there's still a significant amount of RNG involved, because you don't know exactly what you're going to draw. You know, the deck is 30 cards, and you can have up to 2 of any card in the given deck as long as you possess at least 2 of that card. So there's not a huge amount of, oh god, there's not a huge amount of actual, like, in comparison to your standard amount, I guess, of RNG. Alright, let's go with Cosmic Cleaver for the extra damage and fight the boss. Here we go. So this is a boss fight. The actual presentation of the game is one of its strongest points. Everything about it, like I mentioned, is very highly polished and clearly shows that the theme is, they knew exactly what they were going for with the theme, and they managed to very much nail down the theme extremely well. Oh god, this is a really challenging boss to fight all of a sudden. I'm normally really good against this boss, but suddenly things have gotten a lot harder. Alright. Alright, oh no, it got me. I almost made it too. Damn. Yeah, thanks, Captain. But yeah, the game isn't easy. Now, to do the game justice, I feel like I have to show you at least one more. So there, in the second event, that's how many battles there actually are. So those two are going to have about 8 battles each, and then you face one of the Guardians, which is going to be a separate boss with its own mechanics. Then you're going to have to do more, and then another boss, and then more, and the final boss of the actual event itself, which is a crazy lady with a tank. So there are a lot of battles in just one event, and each event gets longer than the last. Ruby von Withington IV and her tank is the final boss of this one. And this one was Raph the Burninator, who had a lot of abilities. And this one appears to be some kind of horrific, ghostly darkness thing. So we might try this one more time with a character that I'm slightly better with, Ravager. Ravager is a melee-focused, kind of attack speed-based hero with some pretty cool abilities, a lot of dodging involved, so let's use Ravager. Although I haven't updated my deck with Ravager since I've gotten new cards, so this might be a mistake because, of course, this event is much harder than the last. But again, I didn't do good enough last time. I feel like I need to show you better. But boons are something I showed you. 20 points is what you need for your first boon, which is, as I mentioned, kind of like favor of the audience. And you also have quests, so the way quests work is every quest has an unlock kind of bonus. So in this case, to actually get Ravager, you also are awarded gold, which you use for cards, which I'll show you later, and companion health. So these are permanent bonuses that make you permanently stronger and also unlock extra contestants and companions. And to get these, you have to complete multiple quests. So in this case, kill 6 enemies in 6 seconds, kill 400 enemies total, and have consumables in all 4 slots. Completing all 3 of these quests is what actually unlocked this. And that's how all of these work. As you can see, Frontline has a huge number of quests. So you'll be getting permanently stronger as you go and unlocking more and more stuff. But it will also be getting harder as you go because, you know, things just get ridiculous. I don't know what patchwork is. It sounds like a mistake, but I'm gonna try it. All starting minions gain plus 40 health. Oh god. That sucks. It does reduce the number of enemies I have to face in each match, but they have 40 more health than usual. That sucks for me. Alright, I'm gonna definitely redraw those two, because those cost way too much for me to play for a while. Here we go. Alright, let's play the Rage Potion, and that'll work. So, I think you're kind of getting the idea, hopefully. The game is an extremely solid twin-stick shooter roguelite combination. Ow. It's a really unique mixture. There's nothing else like it, in my opinion, and the the actual mechanics are hugely solid. You have multiple different bosses that have their own passive and active abilities, as well as a deck of cards that they can draw from, that they can play against you. You have your own decks of cards that you can build yourself, and there are cards that are unique to every hero, as well as cards that are usable by everyone. And there are also 3 rarities of cards. There are common, rare, and supreme. All damage is doubled. All damage. Does that mean damage I do and damage they do? Alright, well, I can't play anything this turn even with the extra mana, so I'm not doing that. And it's such a unique mixture that I don't really think the price they're asking for it is unfair. It's only 20 bucks on Steam, and the amount of content on offer here is really, really spectacular. There are a huge number of cards in this game, like a ridiculous number. I only have like a small percentage of them, and I've been playing for quite a while, and my god, this second arena is so hard. And it's consistently been impressing me with just more and more awesome stuff. And, wait, that was stupid to play, because if I take any more damage, I'm gonna die immediately. Oh god, that was that was a really idiotic thing to play. And I'm sucking it up while recording. I was able to beat the Crucible with barely any damage taken almost every fight, but now I am doing so poorly it's pathetic. Frontline gets much harder. Well, how you build a deck is like this. You're shown all of the cards that you have. These are all the cards I currently have access to, and you can have 2 of every card, because that's how many you can put in a deck. There are cards, again, like I said, that are neutral, and some that are specific to each hero, or contestant. And you can then choose which contestant you want, and then create a deck for them, and each one can have up to 5 decks per. And, well, there are, like I mentioned, upgrades, which are permanent for that particular arena once you play them, spells, which have an immediate effect and then disappear, and consumables, which go in one of your 4 consumable slots once you play them, and then you can use them whenever afterwards. They vary in cost and everything as you would expect, and you are just trying to build your own deck with your own ideas and your own themes to be as good as possible. And there are all kinds of really, really cool cards. I particularly like this one, Shiny, because it gives you a random upgrade card, and this actually counts upgrade cards that you don't even have, which is pretty sweet. I have a new card somewhere. Where is it? Doop-a-doo. There's some pretty exciting things here, and like I said, it's constantly impressing me with really cool new ideas and new cards that I'm getting. And the way you get new cards is here, through the Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune. I actually can't play it right now. Every time you get 100 gold, you can play the Wheel of Fortune, and you will get a new card, or cards, or some gold, or some shards from doing this. And the way the shard system works is very much like the Arcane Dust from Hearthstone. If you get a duplicate of a card that you already have at least 2 of, it will convert it into shards. You can then forge shards into a card of your choosing. Well, not exactly. A semi-random card, by which I mean you can choose its rarity, common, rare, or supreme, if you have enough shards, and it will always be a card that you can use. As in, it will always be a card you either have none of or only have 1 of. Other than that, it's still random, but it's not as random as the Wheel of Fortune, which I would really like to show you, but I'm apparently sucking it up so badly that I just can't do it right now. Let's do one more really quick. But yeah, the way this works is absolutely fantastic, and it is an extremely addicting mixture of very, very solid twin-stick shooter style combat with a very, very large selection of actual enemies and tile sets for levels and bosses. Oh god, Frank the Ever-Living. Playing a card increases the mana cost of all cards to the right by 1 and decreases all cards to the left by 1. That's interesting. And could be very difficult to keep track of. But, oh, that's just rude. But because of just the huge variety in cards that you actually have access to, I'm going to use the Squire buff. This is going to be an annoying as hell challenge. The huge variety in enemies and the very large number of bosses and actual tile sets available for you to fight on and everything, it all just adds up to being a very large game with a very large amount of content that they're only asking 20 bucks on Steam for right now. And that's not a sale price or anything or a launch discount, that is just its normal price. It's really difficult personally for me to say no to that. It has just so many addicting features to it. The kind of random, what is this? Homing drone. Oh, great. The random nature of its card kind of acquisition system is a really addicting mixture for a lot of people because people like opening boxes and card packs and things, and that's exactly what this lets you do. The really, really good combat is definitely a focus on that, and of course, the idea that you don't have to worry about the traditionally highly random nature of the rogue-lite aspect of it, because you actually get to, you know, choose what you get in this one, is, I think, going to attract a lot of people, and the game deserves a lot of attention. It is very highly polished. I haven't come across any sort of major bugs or anything, or like big performance issues. I've had a ton of fun with it, and I'm definitely going to continue playing it a lot. It is absolutely worth your time, and if you find yourself unable to resist, like I was, of the really unique mixture of a sort of gauntlet mixed with Hearthstone, then it is available right now on Steam for 20 bucks. The link is in the description below this video. I would just have to absolutely, unequivocally recommend this because it is massive amounts of fun. I could not think of a more unique combination, I think, right now, because I've just never seen anything like this before. I think that they plan to continue to support this with more content. I don't know if they want to make, like, if they want to make DLC packs, like paid expansions, or if they plan on doing card pack updates or more heroes, or I have no idea exactly, like exactly what they plan to do, but it's something. They're gonna do something, and I absolutely look forward to it. And apparently I can't even get past the first battle on the Frontline program, despite the fact that I can just wreck the Crucible without much of a trouble anymore. This game is really hard when recording, apparently. So yeah, I really want to show you this. Let's just forge a common card, just to at least show you what getting a card is like. Here we go. Boom, hot coffee. Cards cost 1 less mana this round. Oh my god, I'm putting that in everything. Anyway, if you like this video, feel free to like this video. If you did not like it and are a horrible person, feel free to dislike the video. Okay, you're not a horrible person if you dislike it, just, you know. And thank you very much for watching. I hope that the gap in between the recent videos hasn't been too much of a problem. I apologize. I've been having some real-life issues to go through, but things are working out okay, and thanks again for all your support, guys. I'm really happy to say that things are getting better on the channel. I'm seeing, you know, a nice increase, I guess you could say, in viewership recently, and there's been some really nice comments and things. Thank you guys a lot for all that. That's really kind, and I hope to make a career out of this, so here's to 1 million more. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.